Hello and welcome to this exciting video in which I will show you my waypoint system. So yeah, why am I showing you my waypoint system and not the finished prototype 4? Pretty simple, because prototype 4 isn't finished yet. The AI is more difficult to implement as many other things, and yeah, I still need time for that. But yeah, I made decent progress. For example, this Waypoint-Generation thing took a lot of time, but now it's working really well, and yeah, that's why I will want to show it to you. If you make your own game, you probably will just place waypoints in the map, because that's a lot quicker. For the entire path generation system, so waypoints and the paths between them, I already wrote more than 3,500 lines of code and spent more than 3 weeks on it. So yeah, it's not the most simple thing, but I can explain it really good visually. So let's start with a simple example. Here we need to turn, that's obvious, so I would call it a curve. I know it's not a round curve, but you have to turn. That's the important thing. So we need a waypoint here. You will probably just think in your mind, hey, a waypoint here would be amazing. And that's true, but definitely I took another approach. So, but we can already agree that we have to turn here, so we have to find a point in this region. So the first phase for me is to generate a turn point. Why do I call it turn point? Well, because at this point you have to turn. And this turn point here would be this point. Well, why? Because if you move along here, you have to turn to the right here. Yeah, that's right. So that's basically why we need a turn point here. Of course, there are a lot of approaches, but in my approach, we need a turn point here. And in the code, you would just say you have to define rules why this is a turn point and not this is a turn point. And the rule is pretty simple. Just look at your diagonals. So I will just visualize it. So we got a point here. Let's make it black, and he should watch here and make sure that you can't move here. Then it goes on and checks if it can move here and here. So in the direction from this point to this point, but only in one dimension. So to move from this point to this point, you have to move like this, like that. So you start from here, move like this. You start from here, move like that. So yeah, that's already the basis, and that's what I can show you. So yeah, we got our turn point here because of the diagonal here and the two walkable spaces next to them. Now, next thing is I want to draw new lines, and you might think, well, why? Well, I tried a lot of things, and this was something that worked, or also worked in my mind, because just look at these lines. You can simply see, okay, if we come from here, we need to pass that line and then pass that line. And we can see or say, hey, we passed that line. We can't go back here. This line is passed. And this was really important for me also for the movement system afterwards. Here we can say, hey, the y coordinate is greater than the y coordinate of this point. That's why we draw a line up until we hit the wall. We start from one point above the diagonal space, and same for the line to the right, because the x coordinate is smaller than the x coordinate of this point. So we draw a line here. Now next phase would be just merging the lines, but in this case we don't need to merge anything. We need both of those lines. And now we simply transfer them back to waypoints, because they will or might be our waypoints. So we go back. Now you can see, okay, we got 2 waypoints here, just from the lines in the middle. So for each line we make a point in the middle, and now we need to merge points, but in this case we again don't have to merge anything, and we can just generate a path now. So in this case it's pretty simple, it's just one path. And of course there might be some unsmooth movement here because of the corner, but that's something that I will manage in another way, and Pretty much that's the quickest way. Why would someone just go here and then go down? That would be a longer way, especially if it's really it's a really wide way, then this one is probably better. So this was the small example, but now let's have a look at the big example. So the base map is just this, and first phase, which we didn't have in the other thing, is just translating this into a matrix in the code, and visually I can't do anything but just removing the black things because they don't matter for us. So yeah, that's the base map. Now we want to mark turn points again. You can see, okay, there are a lot, and I also visualized why they are at these certain points. So you can see, for example, this turn point here is because of this diagonal not walkable space and these two white spaces, and that goes for everyone here. And also, of course, they can have two diagonals where they can't move, and where there are walkable spaces in between. So yeah, we got the turn points now, and now we want to draw the orange lines that you saw before. And you can see, whoa, chaos. There are way too many lines. Why are there so many lines, and does that make sense? Well, yeah, it makes sense, even if it doesn't look for you like that, because we still have to remove some lines. But let's go from this point, for example. We have those two diagonals, and we draw a line between them, and a line to the top of the map until we reach a not walkable space. Because yeah, this y coordinate is bigger than these ones. You get the gist. So now I don't want to make you wait. I will just show you that I removed some lines, and the criteria were pretty simple. I don't want to go into detail, but it's just, for example, this line is unnecessary because it passes the start point. And whoops, this line, for example, is unnecessary because you can't move through it. You can see this would be vertical movement and you can't move through it. There's a wall, so we don't need that. And this applies to many of those lines. For example, this one too, we got a wall, and this would be horizontal movement, so it doesn't work. So yeah, that's after we merge the points, and not the points, the lines. Not merging, sorry, remove the unnecessary lines, and now we just translate them back to our waypoints. As you can see, just in the middle, always merge to one point. And yes, I know I probably should have changed the color of the gold mine, but it doesn't really matter, because the gold mine is not respected at this point in any measure, so it's just, in this case, it's, well, random, or it's because of the map that the waypoint is exactly on the gold mine, but yes. So yeah, I think everyone gets this part, and now we are merging things that are near together. In this case it looks like that, also pretty self-explanatory. And now we just need to draw the path, and you can see, hey, that looks pretty nice. Of course you would ask, well, why is this line here? This looks not walkable, and yeah, it doesn't look like that, and it pretty much isn't walkable, but I'm still using the Unity nav mesh system, so they will find out that they have to move this way. So yeah, these is the final graph. Of course, for the graph generation, or for the line generation here, I didn't explain that because this was also really complicated, and also getting the fastest way, getting all possible ways, all ways that make sense. These are all a lot of things that I could talk about, but this would definitely lengthen the video, and yeah, the main point of the video was yeah, making these waypoints. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something from this video and found it entertaining. Feel free to comment some feedback if you didn't get anything. Also feel free to leave a comment, and I may be able to explain it to you in other words. And yeah, that's it with the video. I wish you an amazing day, and yeah, goodbye.